got Mikey. He reveals the UFC BJJ will begin testing for PEDs in 2026. Mikey, we gotta test you too, Mikey. We gotta test you too, Mikey. What kind of pizza diet makes you ripped? Who else is getting ripped on pizza? I ain't. I'm not getting ripped on pizza. I'd be bloated. So yeah, shout out to Mikey. Mikey, we're gonna need to test you too. It says Mikey Musumeci has revealed the UFC BJJ plans to begin testing athletes for PEDs, a significant move that could reshape the grappling landscape. I mean, all these dudes know how to get around these tests, bro. These tests don't do nothing, bro. Just look at Worlds. They get around the tests easily. The announcement slipped under the radar during a Q&A session on Mikey's Instagram, but its implications are substantial. Currently, only a handful of major grappling organizations, most notably the IBJJF and UAEJJF, United Arab Emirates Jiu-Jitsu Federation, conduct any testing at all, and even then, it's typically reserved for champions or medalists. As a result, many of the sport's top athletes have never undergone any testing, and several openly admit to PED use. This has posed a long-standing issue for jiu-jitsu's legitimacy as it tries to gain broader appeal with mainstream audiences. So, are they going to be testing at PGF? I don't know. While UFC's recent entry into professional jiu-jitsu via UFC BJJ has sparked mixed reactions, Musumeci sees the decision to implement testing as a much-needed positive step. Mikey says grappling to be professional, finally with stability, drug testing, and to reach a much larger segment of people than we have ever been able to. That's what he's expecting from UFC BJJ. The announcement comes just ahead of the debut season of UFC BJJ, which features Musumeci and Rierson Gabriel. A lot of you people are asking, who is Rierson? Well, no one knows who Rierson is. He came out of nowhere. The season will crown 3 champions across the lightweight, welterweight, and bantamweight divisions, with Musumeci and Gabriel Rierson facing off for the bantamweight title in the final. So we'll keep you guys updated. I mean, UFC does test, or did test. So we'll see what they're going to test for. I will say these tests are really expensive. Let's see. We got the AI going. Let's go to our MMA. They're going to give us the answers. The cost of USADA tests. Says, I keep seeing posts saying that USADA tests cost $40K for each test. That ain't true. And some fighters actually, you gotta think you need the testing officials, the kits. Yeah, it might in travel. Yeah, it actually might cost that much, man. I don't know. It says $40K for each test, and some fighters get tested 5 or more times before a fight. Every fighter gets tested at least once before the fight. How does this make sense when some UFC fighters only make $12 to $20K per fight? According to this article, the deal is for 2,750 tests a year and costs multiple millions at 40. Actually, I don't know what that's true. Okay, there's another article. It says between $200 and $400 per test. Is it? Let me check this article. Hopefully, it's a real article. Can't see it. We're trying to see how much it costs to test. Jason says, people think that testing for PEDs is a good thing that will encourage a lot of athletes to not join the UFC Jiu-Jitsu. I don't think they will get the top athletes because PEDs are a part of the culture. There are natural people. I keep telling you guys I'm natural. There are some natural people out there. Don't want to do nothing. So yeah, maybe it'll help us. Now, your favorite grapplers out there, your favorite grapplers that win everything, I don't know if they can make it, man. I don't know if some of your favorite grapplers can be over there. Some of your favorite grapplers, they not gonna pass no test. They pissing acid. It's green. Yeah, a lot of your favorite athletes probably not gonna make it. I just want to see the cost. USADA, put your costs out there. So I think it's around $200 to $400, but we got to take in, account that you need the testers out there. You got to fly the testers out there, or pay them whatever rate to go out there and test you. It's different if they're testing you at the venue, which is what IBJJF does. They test you right after you win or place. But I think with like UFC, they actually got to pay for the. Actually, they did catch Cyborg and some of those other people. Let's see. They went to their gym and can we see when Cyborg failed? So my dream is that I compete and then maybe I lose to one of these guys and then I get a gold medal or something. They're like, Alec, actually you got bronze, Alec. Oh shoot, I did. I'm hoping USADA catch. USADA's my friend. I need USADA like this. When I go compete, I'm like, USADA, where you at, bro? When I'm getting my butt kicked by a jiu-jitsu athlete, I'm like, USADA, come save me, USADA. I want USADA to jump over the barrier and stop the match and save me. They've yet to do that. So let's read this. This happened 2022. Didn't get reported till 2023. That's how USADA worked. It says USADA announced today that 5 athletes have accepted 3-year sanctions for their respective anti-doping rules violations, all of which occurred as a result of testing and intelligence from the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation World Nogi Championships event in December 2022. So they didn't think that they were going to test at the World Nogi Worlds. All athletes deserve a level playing field so that hard work and talent alone determine the outcome of a competition. I'm with them. I'm with you, USADA CEO Travis Taggart. I'm cooked, guys. I'm cooked. Jason says money's going to testing. I think they lied about that money, Jason. I think they lied about that money. I don't trust nothing out of Dana White's mouth or Claudia's mouth. Yo, my homegirl. Why is the girl with OnlyFans in charge of the jiu-jitsu guys? They couldn't pick nobody better. UFC didn't have nobody better. You telling me UFC, multi-billion-dollar organization, didn't have nobody better? They gave us the girl with the OnlyFans. All that to say, I don't think that money coming to jiu-jitsu. They probably paying Mikey peanuts. Mikey said he ain't got no say in nothing, so I know he ain't getting paid that much. I think it's a clown show, bro. I think these guys, you think you're in the UFC, gonna make some money, but We did the whole story on Sean Strickland. He won a lot of matches. He been fighting in the UFC for 10 years, 11 years. He ain't got nothing good to say. I remember what's the guy that fought he used to train with Eddie Bravo, Tim Planet. What's that guy's name? Old guy, he's a little crazy. Not Eddie, the other guy, the MMA fighter. Anyway, yeah, I mean, there's a ton of fighters that have been unhappy with the UFC pay. So yeah, this USADA CEO, he said that hard work. He said there's all athletes deserve a level playing field, so that hard work and talent alone determine the outcome of competition. I support that. Sean just did a video with Pearl Davis. Who's that? Oh, Strickland? Who's Pearl Davis? Who's that? I don't know who that is, man. Let me know in the comments. I don't know everybody. Testing programs help ensure that those who choose to use powerful performance-enhancing substances or otherwise cheat to gain an advantage are held accountable. My worst nightmare is that all these guys end up like Wagner Hosha. They're in their 30s. Wagner Hosha, 42 years old, guys. Let's see how old he is. Wagner Hosha, he just turned 43. Now, I'm not saying it's not, maybe there's some, genetic family history, blah, blah, blah. But, man, 43? Man, to have, the beginning stages of heart failure at 43, man, that would be terrible. I'm really worried about these kids. These kids, some of these kids are starting really young. They in these programs, these programs with the biggest schools you guys love, they taking a lot of stuff in their teenage years. And we don't know what the ramifications going to be. Their liver and heart probably twice as big as mine. Lungs probably twice as big too. He was talking about his life. She's a red pill manosphere YouTuber. Oh, okay. I probably won't cover that, but if I could find an article, I'm more about reading articles right now, so I don't get hit with no copyright. But maybe that might be worth listening to. But anyway, yeah, I don't want there to be a lot of Wagner Hoshas in their 30s and 40s. I want people to be healthy when they're doing this sport. This is the opposite of health, guys. This is the opposite of health out here. What these guys are doing. Although the IBJF is not a signatory of the World Anti-Doping Code, USADA, or WADA, USADA was contracted by IBJF to conduct testing and results management program. We've read that before. Okay, so there was a few people that got hit. So they clearly didn't think that they would get tested at Nogi Worlds. You had Igor Nascimento from Florida, tested positive for testosterone and its metabolites in competition urine sample from December 11th. He had a 3-year ban, so he should be able to compete soon. Oh, never mind. Didn't start to January 2023, so he can't compete till January 2020. Oh no, 6. Janatas Gracie, isn't he fighting who's number 1? Shout out to Janatas. Actually, I do like Janatas. And what's crazy is these guys are 25 years old and they own a lot of stuff. You think these guys are going to be healthy in their 30s and 40s, guys? 25, tested positive for 19 norandrostone and metabolite of nandrolone and other prohibited supplements and exogenous testosterone and its metabolites in competition urine sample. 3-year slap on the wrist. So he should be back in 2026 too. Isn't he fighting Mika Galvao? Didn't Mika Galvao get hit? None of these guys can pass the USADA. Roberto Abreu, Cyborg, 42, tested positive for exogenous testosterone. Oh, I didn't know he did. He did test. Oh, I thought he ran away from the test. Yeah, 3-year suspension. He'll be back 2026. Jose Henrique Cardozo. Who is that guy? I don't know who that guy is. Who is this guy? Tested positive too. Exogenous testosterone and methasterone. Some other stuff. I can't pronounce this stuff. Wagner Hosha, 40. Refused to submit a sample collection after being notified by a USADA doping control officer during an out-of-competition test on December 23rd, 2022. So they went to Florida to go test him. He accepted a 3-year period of ineligibility that began on January 11th, 2023. Guys, these tests getting better. So unless they're using something that gets in and out of their system really quickly, unless they use something that gets out of their system really quickly, they're gonna get caught, Ben. So, my favorite. Hey, man, my water bottle was spiked, man. That's my favorite one. As far as I know, well, yeah, it's just not been good for the sport. And there's been people getting hit every year, every time. Can I search IBJJF? I mean, look, ain't no shortage of people getting caught by USADA. 2017, 2023, 2017. 2020, 2019, 2015, 2016, 2022, 2023. Some of your favorite grapplers over there getting caught. 2024. Sometimes it's like marijuana or something. But Mighty Mouse said the marijuana was a performance enhancing. Did you guys hear that? 2025. Who got hit 2025? Oh yeah, somebody got hit in 2025. JH says, so are these tournaments big money or something? I'm still new to all this and don't compete yet. It's kind of like, UFC might potentially be bigger money. Yeah, right now it's UFC is going to be testing, and then UFC BJJ, and then IBJJF. IBJJF just now started paying athletes. I forget what the biggest prize money is. Maybe like 20K, 40K. No, I don't think it's 40K. Yeah, 40K actually for their Grand Prix. So you can make some money. You just have to be like the best person in the world to make $40,000. But that does kind of suck a little bit. We did talk a little bit about this. It says the truth behind the $52 million lawsuit. We talked a little bit about this. So basically, the guy in the green here, Sinistro. Can you guys see my? Move it over a little bit. He did like a Leo Vieta roll. But the other guy, his neck was on the mat, and he kind of moved last second, and got a spinal injury. In recent weeks, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world has been rocked by headlines about a staggering $52 million lawsuit involving renowned instructor Francisco Sinistro Iturralde. The case, which stems from a tragic injury during a sparring session, has ignited immense debates online. But beyond the clickbait and courtroom soundbites lies a human story, one of heartbreak, misunderstanding, and resiliency. So I read this already. I really don't want to read it again. Is there a video? I want to see the video. Maybe there isn't a video. I really don't want to. Maybe I can find it. Blackout says IBJF tournaments generate a lot of money from all of their registrants. I believe only black belt champions and maybe place winners earn prize money. Yep, you have to place at Worlds. I'm not sure about Nogi Worlds yet. Brasileiros and Worlds, I believe, have a payout to black belts. There's a Grand Prix. There's the Crown. And then otherwise, you can make money by being top ranked, like top three, like the top three ranked by points for that competitive year. You can make money. So there is a little bit of money. It's more prestige. So, if you win IBJJF Worlds, you're world champion. You can use that to promote yourself for seminars and professional fights. In fact, the guy that's fighting Mikey Musumeci, Metzi, however you want to say it, he won PANS this year, 2025 PANS. And that's basically the reason he's able to fight Mikey, because he won that PANS. So, being a world champion gives you some prestige. Your name's in history. You make a little bit of money. I believe like $8,000 to $10,000 possibly. And then I believe all of your tournament entries are, you get those fees waived or you're reimbursed. So if you're a world champion, I'm not sure for the other opens, but I think some tournaments you're reimbursed for. So that's bro, if that's true, I'm not sure if it's true, but if that's true, you're set. If you win Worlds, you can register and get reimbursed for all your tournament fees. That's pretty nice. Let's see if we can find this video. YouTube. Am I in the right YouTube account? Yeah. Craig Jones pops up. I don't know if we can find the move. Let's see. This is news, Fame News, headline news. Let's see. So again, this is biased, guys. This is biased. Jason says, like I said earlier, the UFC is screwing themselves with the testing. This is a lot of athletes who are ineligible to compete. UFC's talent pool has less to choose from, like CJI, ADCC, and PGF. Well, they had a lot of guys. They had Tackett, Josh Cernos, Gianni Grippo. So they actually have some good people, I mean, it's good. I mean, Jason, what are we supposed to do if you're natural, bro? You want us to get jacked up, bro? You got to have some type of got to have something in place for athletes that aren't using steroids and whatever else crap. Of course, CJI they can get the jiu-jitsu guys. ADCC can pull PGF, PGL, PGF, whatever it's called. But if you want these sports to be professional, there's got to be some testing. You can't have these dudes roid raging all over the place. I'm pretty for testing. I don't use anything. I'm natural, so I would like to compete against people that are natural. I mean, I compete against people that aren't natural. And that does kind of suck. That does force you to like really work harder. That is true. As a fan, I know you guys want to see the craziest, most amped up dude that can recover from tearing his knee last week. And it's okay to have different opinions, CGI is still going to be good. ADCC is still going to be good. I think UFC there's talent out there. And they're not even testing those guys till 2026. So there's really no issue about it right now. 2026, a couple months from now, they will start testing, but now they're not testing anybody. So I don't know, man. I prefer having a sport that's cleaner. Think about wrestling. Wrestling's a little bit cleaner because they have so much testing. I'm not saying there's no ways to get bypass. A lot of these guys can bypass the test and stuff. But again, I don't. You guys love the entertainment, but I'm looking at the back end. Look at people like Wagner Hosha. Look at people like Cyborg. I believe Cyborg had open heart surgery too. Let's look that up. Yeah, I believe he had a heart attack too. So, I mean, I know you guys want entertainment, but do you guys want to see the athletes over there dying in their 40s? You want people like Gordon Ryan just melting away? I mean, I ain't going to live my life like that. I don't care about entertaining you guys that much. I ain't going to put my life on the line to entertain you guys. That ain't sustainable, bro. ADCC don't care what you use. They don't care if you die. Did ADCC do anything with when Homeboy died? I mean, there's some real stuff over here. Cyborg, he had open heart surgery 2020. He was in like four. How old is Cyborg? Let's see. He 44. He was in his 30s when he had open heart surgery. Now, either it's genetic, or him and Wagner, they both got caught. We just saw that, right? They both got caught on the same day, December 2022. December 2022. Roberto Abreu, 42. So he was like 40 years old in 2020. He had open heart surgery a couple years ago. Wagner Hosha recently had heart failure. 44 years old, 43 years old, 42 years old. I don't know how old he is. So I'm thinking about this part, man. I know you guys want to see entertaining fights, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking about the athletes when they get old, when they get to their 40s. I mean, Gordon Ryan, he's not even 30 years old. He's falling apart. He can't eat no food, health terrible. Is that what you want, Jason Whitfield? I ain't going to do it for you guys. Hell no. I ain't going to die for you dudes. And I know you guys want to see the entertainment. Yeah, cool. I'm going to entertain you guys naturally. I ain't going to have no heart and lungs and kidney and liver 2 or 3 times bigger than what they're supposed to be. I'm good, bro. If any athletes out there, man, don't kill yourself to entertain these people out here, man. Don't kill yourself. The issue is a lot of these guys, they want attention. They want to be famous. They want to make money, and they'll kill themselves to get that. They'll kill themselves. They'll end their bloodline. They'll literally end their bloodline to do that. And life is long, man. You got a lot of life to live outside of your jiu-jitsu career. Says Cyborg suffers from a condition called arrhythmia, which is when the heart beats faster than usual. Arrhythmias can happen due to a variety of factors such as heart attack, hypertension, coronary heart disease. He might have all of that. Abnormal thyroid hormone production and other heart diseases. Shoot. Did he have a stent put in? Arrhythmias can be a result of smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, illegal drugs, caffeine, or over-the-counter or prescription medications. And some people experience arrhythmias because of stressful situations. He has tachycardia. Surgery, if a failing heart valve is causing the arrhythmia, involves repairing the valves through a surgical procedure. If the doctor determines that the cause of arrhythmia is a coronary heart disease, a coronary artery bypass surgical procedure will be performed. Cyborg has already talked about this problem after his loss to Andre Galvao at the 2015 Super Fight. How old was he in 2015? Cyborg's what, 40? Is he 40? How old is Cyborg again? I don't know. What, 10 years ago? In his 30s? I believe he had a heart issue in his 30s. I want to think, and I don't want to read that part. How old was he in 20? How old is he? I keep forgetting, guys. He's 44. So 34. You telling me he had a heart issue at 34? I mean, I know it's not impossible, guys, but listen, man. Listen, this ain't good. Orlando Sanchez, you know he had a heart attack. He died at 40. Well, I think he had a heart attack. He survived that, I believe. Did he have a heart attack? Oh, yeah, he definitely had a heart attack. When did he die? 2022 he died? And he had a heart attack 2017? Man, do you guys want these people to die? That's what I'm thinking. Whenever people online are like, man, I want to see the juiciest athletes, on the most performance enhancing, la, la, la. I'm like, well, you just want to see people die. Blackout says the UFC has major household brands as sponsors. They can't afford to have the negative image of PED users associated with their brands. That's true. That's true. You can't have all these athletes dying in their 30s and 40s, heart attack in their 30s and 40s, and whatever other issues they got going on. These guys be 25 years old on exogenous testosterone. Yeah, if you're trying to defend steroid use on here, man, this ain't the right live stream. Yeah, Orlando Sanchez came face to face with death with what he calls the worst week of his life. R.I.P. Orlando Sanchez. Maybe not the best person in the world, allegedly. The owner of two Gracie Baja gyms, Sanchez had planned a family getaway to their cabin up at Lake Arrowhead, California. He had some money. He had a cabin up in Lake Arrowhead. The break was just what the Gracie Baja black belt needed. After the nonstop stress of last year and a half, his beloved grandmother passed away. Oh, sorry to hear that. He was in the process of expanding his businesses to open another two Gracie Baja locations in Los Angeles. On top of that, he had to deal with an anonymous group of people trying to defame him on social media and on forums. Unfounded. No, that ain't true. About his unfounded rumors that attacked his character, hurt his business, and damaged his relationships. I think there might have been some truth to that. The stress had been building, but Sanchez is not one to lay down easily. He overcame a hardcore history of drug abuse in his 20s. Not a good sign either. And he suspected his heavy use of powder had begun to catch up with him. He would always feel short of breath, would constantly cough, and would wake him up in his sleep choking. He mostly put it down to anxiety, understandable given his recent trials. He still trained every night, but found himself overheating so much he had to put a fan on the mats to cool him down. And just like always, he kept pushing. Sanchez jumped on his Harley to make the 2-hour drive from his home of Pasadena to the cabin where he would meet his family. As soon as he got there, he realized something wasn't right. Everything he had been feeling got 10 times worse. Maybe it was the 5,000-foot elevation, but something wasn't right. He had difficulty breathing. After calling one of his students who was an ER doctor, Sanchez was advised to get checked out in case he had fluid in his lungs. At the emergency room, the doctor performed an EKG and x-rayed his chest. His heart was swollen, surprise, surprise, and his chest was filling with fluid. An ambulance rushed him to the cardiac ICU where Sanchez was put on diuretics. It was here they discovered he was in what is called AFib, atrial fibrillation, a quivering or irregular heartbeat, more often called arrhythmia. Who else had arrhythmia? Cyborg. Lying in bed with 196 beats per minute heart rate. I mean, I don't think my heart rate ever got that high. I didn't know my heart rate could get that high. Yeah. All right, something bad happening. That ain't anxiety. It was here Sanchez felt at his lowest. The worst thing I've ever had to go through was looking at my kids and watching them cry hysterically, asking my wife if daddy was going to pass away. It absolutely broke me. To reset his heartbeat, doctors knocked him out and attached electroshock pads to his chest, firing pulses in an effort to reboot his system. After a few days of being monitored, he was allowed to go home. I can't believe I didn't die. He estimates he had been suffering from atrial fibrillation for around 8 months, a period in which he never stopped training, dating back to the time his grandmother died. I remember being there in the room. Okay, I don't say that part. So he was, he definitely was carrying a lot of weight. Let's see. After a near-death experience and realizing that the thing that nearly killed me was my unbreakable mindset, the same mindset that pushed me to the top of this sport, I'm telling you, I have self-belief more powerful than anybody's training camps or techniques or ripped abs. So that was him. Unfortunately, can I go back? Oh, well, let me go. Okay, I can go back. If we look at Orlando Sanchez, he didn't really take care of his health. Images. Like we see him. What was the last year? I think he did 2019. Yeah, I think it was 2019. He looked really, really bad. Like he looked way overweight. Like he looked just terrible. I mean, he was a thick guy, but like when he fought Nicky Rod, he looked terrible. I mean, I was there just watching him. He looked terrible. It's hard to see, but like his stomach was hanging down. He just looked really bad. Jason says Vince McMahon, owner of WWE back in the 80s, encouraged his wrestlers to take enhancers because the spectators want to see superheroes in the ring. That's true, but listen, Jason, that was back in the 80s. People didn't know what steroids were. Even the 90s, people didn't know what that stuff was. We weren't as health conscious. Listen, Vince McMahon ain't no better than Dana White. You can't tell me, Jason. I'm sorry, bro. You can't tell me. You can't tell me on none of that, man. Says, look where Vince and many of those wrestlers are today. One of the common threads in some of the most horrifying stories behind the WWE is PEDs. Yeah, between PEDs and CTE, it's all bad. Of course, you can say Vince McMahon and Dana White have made billions of dollars. That is true. They've made a lot of money. Killed a lot of athletes, too. Killed a lot of people. Got a lot of destitute wrestlers and MMA fighters out there. Got a couple more stories. Got who's this guy? Jason Statham. One of your guys' favorite athletes, actors. And he's training at Hodger Gracie BJJ. Let's do it, bro. That's pretty cool, man. Cool to see him training. So when I was a blue belt, I stumbled into Henry Cavill in the changing rooms during the time when Batman vs Superman was being released. I was wearing my Batman rash guard that day, and he took a photo together. It was a funny moment. Jason Statham, BJJ. That's pretty cool, man. The British people seem to train. What's the guy? Tom Hardy and Jason Statham and some other guys. What's the director guy? I can't remember. The one that was dating Madonna a long time ago. Yeah, the people in UK be training, bro. It's only in America they be kind of, I can't train. I'm scared. I'm too famous and rich to train. Yeah, I'm against steroids, guys. I keep saying it. I'm gonna keep promoting it. I don't want to see people dying in their 30s and 40s, heart attack left and right. Um, I don't want to see kids on this stuff. Jiu-jitsu is good enough without all the steroids. Now, will some of those guys be, they're fun to watch? Yeah, they're fun to watch. But when they're having a heart attack in their 40s, I'm like, well, I don't know if it was worth it. So we've been talking a lot about Craig Jones and Mikey and Claudia. So someone says, can someone update me on the beef? I've seen Craig destroying them on social media, and I want to know the details. UFC has been taking ideas from Craig, like match formats and their new bowl/pit. Claudia has also been putting them down like they are revolutionary. Putting them out there like they are revolutionary. Mikey is one of the coaches for the UFC's new grappling competition show, so is catching strays. Mikey catching strays because he's an easy target. He's a nerd. He's emotional. He's just an easy target. Mikey need when Zuckerberg rebranded, he need that PR team. Can we get that PR team on Mikey stat? Give him a new haircut. Give him some contacts, some better hobbies. we can fix Mikey, man. The UFC contracts themselves are a double-edged sword. Sure, you get paid more, but you're stuck with them. Yeah, because Craig was the first person to ever think of those things. He did give props and credit to Karate Combat for the pit pretty vocally. Then he needs to quit crying about the UFC doing their own thing. They copied him. Claudia is a genuine airhead. She's the girl in charge of UFC BJJ. I don't know why. They should have put me in charge. I would have been marketing. At least I would take the microphone from Mikey. Yo, Mikey, give me the microphone, Mikey. Give me the microphone, Mikey. When Mikey start ranting and going crazy, I would take the microphone from him. Claudia is a genuine airhead. 2 out of 3 of her social media content is nonsense rant like Jones showed or advertisement for her get rich quick Discord group. When UFC BJJ is just as mediocre as Fight Pass Invitational, isn't it? She's in charge of both of those. They can't have a different person in charge of both of those things. And takes 10 years to get over growing pains. She's not going to give a care. The athletes that are signing into the UFC exclusive contracts now are going to have their careers already over. I mean, the UFC not a good company. Why would you want to partner with them? The only reason to partner with UFC is if you're gonna use all their clout. And the only person I see doing that is Tackett. Andrew Tackett. He's using all the UFC clout. He's gonna meet all the fighters, get his name out there. He's smart. He's the only smart one out there. If you think the UFC gonna pay you, good luck. Now you can use the UFC to like build your brand. Go for it. But I think Tackett the only person I've seen doing it right. He's absolutely correct. Signing up for a long-time exclusive contract with the UFC is foolish. You're not even an employee. You're an independent contractor. Only the next fight purse is guaranteed in combat sports. They can cut you at any time or even worse, hold you on ice forever. Well, you use the UFC for all you can get. You go to UFC headquarters, you get the meal plan, you use their facilities, you train there. Use everything you can, man. Her financial advice is so painfully simple and stupid that it rubs me the wrong way. Most of it boils down to save $500 per month instead of getting Starbucks and put it in a retirement account, and you'll be rich. Maybe in Brazil. Craig posted some story the other day about how she just suddenly started acting like she is the spokesperson for all of BJJ now, that she is somewhat in charge of UFC BJJ. She is basically taking credit for how they are using a pit-like structure and the same scoring to CJI, like she's the first person to come up with those ideas. That money bag that Moneyberg guy, that Moneyberg guy that Claudia works with and Mikey has worked with before, along with other UFC fighters he pays, seems like one of the most obvious grifters and scammers too. Who's the Moneyberg? Zuckerberg? I don't think Zuckerberg needs more money. But I could be wrong. Yeah, man, the Moneyberg. Who's Moneyberg? That's a person, Moneyberg? Yo, don't mess with Moneyberg. Moneyberg, that's kind of cool. Oh, bro. Who else does research like me online? Who else doing research like me online, bro? Nobody. Nobody doing research like me. Only live stream where we do research. We find who Moneyberg is. Hopefully, I don't learn too many secrets. Jason says Gordon Ryan is probably the worst representative of jiu-jitsu. He said he would not change a thing about his PED use, even if it took 20 years off his life. How many kids heard that and took it to the heart? A ton of them. We're seeing them now. They're all the kids at ADCC opens. All the kids that want to do all these no-gi tournaments, they listening to Gordon. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to, I'm only one dude with a little live stream. I'm like, hey, kid, don't do that stuff. Don't kill yourself to be famous. They're not going to listen to me. They're going to listen to Craig Jones and Gordon Ryan. So, kind of sad, guys. Kind of sad. So we're gonna find out who this Moneyberg person is. Apparently, that's his real name. Yo, it's wild out here, man. It says, yeah, man, Moneyberg is crazy. I mean, the name is already crazy. Is he the dork that pays Gordon Ryan thousands of dollars for privates and pretends they are best friends? Here's a YouTube video exposing all of his obvious grifts. Oh, we might need to watch that. Not right now, though. It says it's crazy that all those UFC fighters and grapplers are promoting the Fat Berg guy. Is there a different other Berg? I just checked her IG after Craig roasted her. Yikes, she's on that get rich scam now. What a grifter. Should have stuck to OnlyFans. So, not only is she on OnlyFans, she's also grifting. So, that's who's in charge of the UFC BJJ. So, I don't think the future is going to be good for the UFC BJJ. If the person in charge is grifting, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign, guys. So, I don't think that's going to be good for us. Should not have signed that exclusive contract. UFC BJJ is the ADCC of 2025, so Craig is gunning for them. Just business. Oh, and the UFC pretty much ripping off CGI, so they're going to get into a legal fight. Craig is partners with the Karate Combat guys. Craig paid the Karate guys to license their patent they had on the pit. UFC didn't, so there's some controversy about that. The UFC's is round, so they didn't have to license it. They created their own design. Read the patent. I did not read the patent. We ain't gonna read the patent today. Craig trademarked grappling in a hole. Mikey and Claudia are grappling in a different hole. Craigie wants his money for their hole, or something like that. That pretty accurate. Didn't grappling in a hole come from karate in a hole? Yeah, he paid them licensing for it or something. Craig is doing what he can to maintain a fair and competitive market. We should support that cause. While some athletes will make more money immediately, allowing the UFC to monopolize grappling is not necessarily a good thing. What's going to happen in the future when there is the UFC and almost no other way for athletes to compete for cash? The UFC is on record saying they are going to keep UFC athletes' costs below 20%. So I believe that's 20% of revenue, which if you look at NFL, real professional organizations, is like 50-50 split, really. UFC, they're going to keep costs down by 20%. They can do this by, getting athletes from different countries, Dagestan. you know, South America, Middle East, you know, wherever. They can get athletes from Asia. They're going to keep the costs low. Kind of similar to one championship. They kept costs low. So 20% of revenue, I believe. That's insanely low compared to other sports leagues. And they've already been sued for anti-competitive practices. Since writing this, they've been brought to court for 2 brand new antitrust lawsuits. So, you know, not really the best organization to join become a part of. Do they have a glass door? I want to see if they have a UFC glass door. He's trying to maintain a fair and competitive partnership with the company that he and the community at large have accused of trying to monopolize the sport. If you're talking about Flow, yes, he is using their content engine to promote his event. No, he is not putting his event behind their paywall, and most importantly, he is not forcing exclusive contracts on the athletes competing for CJI. I hope Craig Jones is taking care of himself, because this all seems very stressful.